everyone, this is a video on geometric series and sequences. These are practice math SL problems. The first one is a sequence problem. The first four terms of the sequence are 18, 54, 162, and 486. Since this is geometric, it has a common R, and you get your R by dividing the current term by the previous term. So if we divide 54 divided by 18, that should give you 3. So your R is 3. You can also try these as well. And you divide the current term you're on by the previous term. So we first have to find an expression for the nth term. So we use U sub n. And our first term is 18. Our R is 3 to the n minus 1. And they want us to find the value of n if the first term is, what is this, 1,600,000, wait, 1,006,000, what is this, 2882, yeah. So if this is our last term, then what is our n? So we have 18 times 3 to the n minus 1. I divide both sides by 18 and I get 59,049. And at this stage, you can just kind of guess for n and plug it in. I kind of did that. And I know that 3 to the 10th equals 59,049. And that's a guess way. So that would mean n is 11. The best way, though, is to take the log of both sides. And when you do that, you're going to take log of, and I'm going to start with this one, log of 59,049 equals log of 3 to the n minus 1. Now, using my power property for logs, I'm going to bring this n minus 1 down. And so I'm going to use log of 59,049 equals n minus 1 times log of 3. Now, what I'm going to do is divide both sides by log of 3. So, and that equals n minus 1. And so basically you add 1 to both sides. Plus 1 equals your n. And when you do that, you're going to get your n equals 11. Okay? The next problem we have is find the sum of an infinite geometric series. And our series is 2/3 minus 4/9 plus 8 over 27 minus 16 over 18 plus dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot, dot. See dots. They're hard to do on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is write my formula down. This is your first term divided by 1 minus your r. So we have our first term, which is 2 over 3. And your r, again, you can either just visually see that that's going to be negative 2/3. that you have to multiply by negative 2/3 to get from here to there, or you're just going to divide negative 4/9, divide it by 2/3. And when you do that, you're going to get, let's see, 3 goes into this 3 times, 2 goes into this 2 times, so there's your negative 2/3. Now you just plug in your formula and you're going to get 2/3 over 1 minus a negative 2/3, which is 1 plus 2/3. And this is the same as 2/3 over 3/3 plus 2/3, which equals 2/3 over 5/3. 3's cancel. That equals 2 over 5. Okay, the next one we have is infinite geometric series, where the first term is a sequence. So I'm just going to list it. I have 18, and then my third term is 8, and there are 2 possible sequences, and we have to find the sum of each sequence, but it's an infinite one, so we're going to use the infinite formula. So to find my n, I'm going to use u sub n equals my first term times r to the m minus 1. So my last term is 8 equals my first term, and I don't know r, that's what we're looking for. But I have 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, so 3 minus 1 is squared. Therefore, you divide both sides by 18, and you're going to get r squared. This is, if you reduce this, is 4 over 9, and that equals 4 squared. Therefore, when you take the square root of both sides, you get plus or minus 2/3. So when you multiply 18 by 2/3, you're going to get 12 here. When you multiply it by negative 2/3, you're going to get negative 12. So these are so that's your 2 sequences. And then we have to find the sum of both sequences. And we're just going to use our infinite geometric formula. So we have the sum equals my first term, 18 over 1 minus 2/3. Well, 1 minus 2/3, I'm going to just change this 1 to 3 over 3. So that's going to be 18 over 1/3, which you just multiply those two, and that is 54. So that's your first one. And then your second one is going to be the same thing, but it's going to be 18 over 3/3 plus 2/3, and that's going to be 5/3. This is 5/3, so you just bring the 3 up there, so that's going to be 54 over 5. Okay, the next problem we have is, let me put my dots in here, dot, dot. Oops. All right. We have to express the sum using sigma notation. And to do sigma notation, we're going to start from k equals 1 to n, but we don't know how many terms I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for my n by using the formula u sub n equals u sub 1 times r to the m minus 1. And clearly you can see your r is 1/2, because you keep dividing by 1/2 to get to the next term. My last term is 3. My first term is 192. And my r is 1/2 to the n minus 1. When I divide both sides by 192, I'm going to get 3 over 192, which is 1 over 64, equals 1/2 to the n minus 1. And this one I wouldn't take logs. You should know that 1/2 to the 6th power is 1 over 64, because 2 to the 6th is 64. That means if this is going to be 6, then this my n has to be 7, because 7 minus 1 is 6. So I'm going to go to 7 on my summation notation, and then I'm going to just write it out. My first term was 192, and then your r, you put your r in, is 1/2, and then you just write k minus 1. We also have to find the sum of this. You could write it all out and do it that way, or we can just use our summation notation, summation formula, which is use of 1 times 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. So our sum is going to be 192 times 1 minus r, to the nth power, divided by 1 minus 1/2, which is 1/2. Basically, what you're going to do is multiply these two, and that's going to give you, what is that? So it's going to be 384 times 1 minus 1/2 to the 7th, because our n is 7. And when you multiply all that out, we get 381. So that's your answer. If you didn't want to use this, what you could have done is just filled in the blank here using 1/2. You'll find out that it is indeed 7 terms, and you could have just added them up manually. All right, and the last problem we have is pretty simple. It's just a problem with words, basically. We have a sample radioactive material that loses 8% of its mass every month. That's your R. And your first term is going to be 80 grams. So we have to write a function a sub m, a of m, equals my first term, which is 800, and then my r, you can write it as 8 over 100, or you can just write it as 0.08 to the m minus 1. Now they want to know, so that's that one. They want to know what it is 2 years from now. So that's actually, since we're going by months, this is months, our m is going to equal 24, and you just plug in everything in. So a of 24 equals 800 times 0.08 to the 23rd power. And I used the calculator, and I got 4.722. I'm going to round up to 4 times 10 to the negative 23, or you can write it this way, times 1/10 to the 23rd power. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.